It's a warm spring night, and you pop into existence weighing a measly 25 grams. That's literally a cookie's worth of hedgehog, completely blind, deaf, and looking like a pink, wrinkly water balloon with legs. Welcome to life, says nobody because you can't hear anything yet. Your first thought? Well, this is awkward. But wait, nature's got a real treat in store. Within hours, 5,000 tiny white needles start pushing through your skin like some sort of twisted acupuncture session. Talk about a rough first day. Oh, what's happening? You might squeak if you could actually make any sound other than pathetic little peeps. Those first few hours are basically nature's way of saying, welcome to life, kid. It's all downhill from here. So, there you are, a tiny pink pincushion, totally dependent on mom. She's out there being a superhero, having to leave you every night to find food while you're just lying there squeaking like a broken dog toy. Your siblings? Yeah, there's usually 4 or 5 of you, are all competing for mom's attention, pushing and shoving with your tiny needle-covered bodies. Family bonding at its finest. And get this, you can't even pee by yourself. Mom has to lick your tiny behind to make it happen. How's that for embarrassing baby photos? Those pure white spines you started with, they're just the beginning. Soon they're joined by brown ones, turning you into a walking fashion disaster. It's like going through puberty, but instead of acne, you get spikes. And the best part? You can't even control them properly yet. One minute you're trying to look cute and approachable, the next you're accidentally stabbing your sister because someone sneezed. By week 2, your eyes finally pop open and, holy moly, everything looks absolutely terrifying when you're just 4 inches tall. A garden snail looks like Godzilla, and don't even get me started on how big cats appear. Your first life skill? Learning to roll into a ball. It's like yoga, but with 5,000 pointy problems. When in doubt, curl up and hope for the best becomes your life motto. Time to learn how to walk, says mom one day. Great, because wobbling around with a body full of needles is exactly what you want to do today. And don't even get me started on those first wobbly steps. Imagine trying to walk while wearing a suit made of needles. You stumble, you fall, you accidentally stab the ground, and sometimes your siblings. Mom starts your education with the basics. Lesson 1. Everything wants to eat you. Thanks, Mom. Really encouraging. She teaches you the fine art of sniffing because, let's face it, your eyesight is about as useful as sunglasses at midnight. Your nose becomes your personal GPS, leading you to tasty insects and away from danger. Though sometimes you still end up sniffing a cat's tail because, well, depth perception isn't really your strong suit. Life lesson number 2. Trust no one, except maybe worms. Their dinner. By August, mom's had enough of your prickly attitude and kicks you out to fend for yourself. Time to make your own way in the world, she says, probably relieved to finally get rid of her spiky offspring. Welcome to the solo life, kid. Now you've got to find your own territory, which is basically like house hunting. But instead of checking crime rates and school districts, you're looking for the best worm-to-predator ratio. And let's talk about that dating scene. Oh boy, let me tell you about that disaster. You're nocturnal, so your entire social life happens in the dark. Try finding another hedgehog when you can barely see past your own nose. The dating scene is basically a spiky game of Marco Polo with extra steps. When you finally find another hedgehog, the courtship dance begins. It's like a bizarre ritual of sniffing and circling, all while trying not to stab each other. And if you're a male, your grand finale is making a lot of huffing noises that sound like a tiny asthmatic steam engine. If you're a lady hedgehog and decide to have kids, after a very prickly courtship, congratulations, you're in for single parenthood. The male just bounces after mating, probably off to find another spiky lady to charm. Then you're stuck raising 4 or 5 hoglets all by yourself for 6 weeks. These tiny pink beans need constant attention, and guess what? They inherit all your spiky problems. It's like running a nursery where all the babies are covered in needles. Fun times. Life becomes an endless buffet hunt. And let me tell you, it's not exactly fine dining. While other animals are living it up with fancy berries and leaves, you're out there hunting down slugs, beetles, and worms like some sort of spiky vacuum cleaner. Your nightly routine goes something like this. Oh, what's that smell? Earthworm? No, wait, that's just an old sock. Keep searching. Beetle. Chomp. Still hungry. Is that a slug? Jackpot. And you've got to waddle around for up to 2 miles every night just to find enough food. Talk about a workout. As autumn approaches, you enter what I like to call the eat everything that moves phase. You need to pack on those pounds because winter is coming. And no, this isn't a Game of Thrones reference. Your weight needs to increase from about 600 grams to nearly 900 grams. That's like preparing for a hibernation by eating nothing but bugs. Delicious. You spend your nights waddling from one feeding spot to another, your little legs working overtime. Just one more worm, you tell yourself at 3 a.m. Already so full you can barely roll into a ball, but you keep eating because you know what's coming. November rolls around, and it's time for the longest nap of your life. You found a cozy spot under a pile of leaves if you're lucky, or in someone's compost heap if you're really lucky. Then you curl up into a tight ball and slow everything down. Your heart rate, your breathing, even your metabolism. Sounds relaxing, right? Wrong. You've got to survive months without food, losing a third of your body weight while you sleep. Too thin? You'll never wake up. Too fat? You can't roll into a ball properly. Found the perfect weight? Great. Now pray your hibernation spot doesn't flood, freeze, or get bulldozed for a new parking lot. And if someone accidentally disturbs your nest, forcing you to wake up early, you guessed it, game over. And when spring finally rolls around and you do wake up, you're starving, disoriented, and have to start the whole cycle of eating bugs and avoiding death all over again. Now let's talk about your survival skills. You've got terrible eyesight, but somehow need to navigate life primarily through smell and sound. It's like playing a lifelong game of blind man's buff, except if you lose, you might become owl food. Your defense mechanism? Rolling into a ball. That's it. That's your grand survival strategy. Millions of years of evolution, and the best you could come up with was make yourself into a spiky ball and hope for the best. And here's the kicker. You weren't even always called hedgehogs. People used to call you urchins. That's right. You are basically named after your habit of hanging around hedges and making pig-like snuffling noises. The average hedgehog lives about 3 to 7 years in the wild. Each day is basically a game of don't die today. Gardens are basically death traps disguised as paradise. Lawnmowers, hedgehog shredders, weed whackers, instant doom. Garden netting, nature's version of a hedgehog snare. And swimming pools? Sure, you can swim, for a while. But climbing out? That's another story entirely. That brilliant defense mechanism of rolling into a ball? Completely useless against cars. One night, you're waddling across the road, minding your own business, when suddenly, headlights. Your instinct kicks in. Quick, roll up. But guess what? 2 tons of speeding metal doesn't care about your spines. Badgers unroll you like a spiky burrito. Owls swoop down silently and snatch you before you even know what's happening. And foxes? They'll bat you around like a soccer ball until they figure out how to eat you. Here's the sad truth. 70% of hedgehogs don't even make it to their first birthday. Half of them won't survive their first winter hibernation. It's like nature decided to make something adorable and then gave it survival odds worse than a snowman in July. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I hear a beetle calling my name. Oh wait, is that a car? Quick, roll up.